He was a boy born into a family shattered by the Armenian genocide. Born in Beirut, he couldn't afford school and looked to America for a new life. He arrived in LA with just $300 in his pocket and would transform his modest beginnings from a humble booth in the jewelry mart to a multi-million-dollar empire. Where today, on Brighton Way, he brightens the lives of all who enter, offering, yes, the most exquisite and priciest of jewels, but has also cornered the market for the most extraordinary lookalikes that equally sparkle and dazzle. Making sure all can be bejeweled. Leon Hatayan's way of making all feel welcome.
It's beautiful.
Just as he was welcome to America. Leon Hatayan, he is today's LA Story. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a really beautiful edition of LA Stories. I'm Giselle Fernandez, and we are coming to you from swanky Beverly Hills amidst so much dazzle and shine, but just as important, a shining example, probably the best we've done on the American Dream story. Thank you for inviting us into Leon's lair of exquisite jewelry. So good to see you.
Pleasure seeing you, Giselle.
When you look at all that you've built and the success you've had, I mean, your family surviving the Armenian genocide, the Lebanon civil war, you came here with $300 in your pocket and you built all this. What most surprises you?
The dream that I had, that I can only make it happen in America, because I know our humble beginnings in Lebanon and the opportunities we had and we didn't have. Probably if I stayed behind, I don't think I would have been alive today.
There were also friends in Lebanon that you left behind, but many of them did not make it out of the Lebanese civil war, did they?
A lot of my friends and even relatives passed during the civil war in Lebanon.
How did that impact your life? You're such a lovely and generous man, but did it in any way, corrupt your soul and make you view humanity any differently, being exposed to the stories of war?
I came to the conclusion that what I learned from that hard days is that the wish of every mother is to have their child to have a good education, to be well fed, and to be a good citizen for the country. And they all wanted the war to be ending so that they can go back to normal life. That was their wish, and that made me feel here that if we can continue having a situation where kids are well educated, well fed, and they have a good job, they're going to be good citizens at the end.
Seems so simple, right?
Yeah, and I knew that I had a better future here than I was there. God blessed me with it. It was a dream come true because just to get that green card.
It was that important for you?
Yes, to stay in this country, to bring my entire family out of war-torn Lebanon that was going through the civil war during that time.
Your father was a hard-working shoemaker, and you say he was made of a different kind of fabric. What did he infuse in you that you think you carry on as his legacy?
He taught me how to endure in tough times. He taught me how to persist in always working for the better of the family.
Let me ask you about that, because your father watched his siblings and his own father murdered in the Armenian genocide, and then had to walk from Turkey to Syria in those horrible death marches.
Yes.
Your father, I understand, got separated from his mother on those marches and was left an orphan in Aleppo. But he was able, as you said, to reconnect with his mom at 50 years old when you were 11.
He left Beirut and went to Armenia and found his mother. And she, of course, was full of joy, and she prepared a very special feast for them that night at dinner. But unfortunately, she never woke up the morning after. She was waiting to see the sun.
Before she died?
Before she passed.
And your father left you the business when you were just 11 years old. You were a boy. I mean, it almost sounds unimaginable.
Yes. I was 11, but I was doing the buying of the company, the selling of the shoes he used to sell, and I used to go home with my pockets full of money and give it to my mother for groceries or whatever her needs were. So it was a very rewarding feeling because I felt like I'm contributing to the family and I'm turning to become a little businessman.
What would your dad, who worked so hard and encouraged you to go to America with that $300, what would he think of what you've done?
Dad told me that you didn't have to buy a two-way ticket. I know you're not coming back, he said to me. I said, Dad, you're right. And he gave me the 300 and he wished, he says, son, when you go to America and you fall in love one day, make sure to marry your own kind.
An Armenian woman.
An Armenian woman. I said, Dad, if it's so important for you to have Armenian grandchildren, you got to make me a promise before I shake your hand and promise you that. And he said, what do you want? I said, you see that pack of cigarette in your pocket? You tell me that's your last packet of cigarette. He used to smoke 2-3 boxes a day. I say, if you quit now and promise me you will never smoke, I will promise you that I'll marry my own kind and give you Armenian grandchildren.
And did you both?
We both honored our word.
Honored your word.
Absolutely.
I can't help but be dazzled by the sparkle of not just the finest jewels, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of exquisite jewels, but also lookalikes, replicas of the greatest designers. You captured that market too.
Before COVID, I used to strictly make fine jewelry, 18 karat or platinum with diamonds and color stones, gems. But when COVID hit, I thought by feeling the customers' emotions that they were afraid to wear the real stuff on the streets because of the turmoil that was happening in Los Angeles. So I made everything affordable by, instead of using gold and platinum, I used silver. I plated it 3 times 18 karat gold so that it doesn't tarnish and change color. And instead of using diamonds, I used cubic zirconias and moissanite, lab-made synthetic stones in color. And the technology that we were producing is allowed it to make it look just like the real thing.
And it does.
People cannot even tell the difference. The most important is for people to know that even though it's Beverly Hills, there is a $50 earring they can buy. There is a $100 bracelet they can wear. I don't want them to feel intimidated. They come in and they just fall in love with the line. And it so happens that it's so affordable because every secretary that works around can afford a $300, a $200 ring.
And that is so important to you. You say that you put the same care and discipline and shine and exquisiteness into your replicas as you do into your fine jewelry.
Absolutely.
You take pride in that.
Yes.
But people don't just come here for your beautiful jewelry, do they? Before even offering to show them the jewels, you offer them a wonderful latte, a cappuccino, an Armenian pastry. Why is that so important to you?
When you share food and drink with somebody, you create a bond automatically. You have shared a mutual joy. Hospitality is very important. In Middle East, they try to cover the tables as much as they can afford to put food. They try not for you to see the tablecloth. If you see the tablecloth, that means they didn't put enough food. Sometimes they even put 2 levels in between dishes so that you don't see the tablecloth. That's the kind of hospitality we are known to see, enjoy, and give. And that's how we grew up, as tradition.
And that's where we're going to take a break. But when we come right back, we're going to talk about the journey of Leon Hatayan and how he came to Los Angeles when LA Stories comes right back. Welcome back to LA Stories, everyone. I am here with Leon Hatayan, surrounded by the jewels that adorn his life and his lucky patrons. How hard was it for you to leave everything behind at 20 years old and start a brand new life?
Very hard at the beginning. The hardship I went through taught me how to become a better person, how to meet good people. I started working in Hollywood in the clothing business, and I got to meet a lot of the Motown record artists because Motown was a block away right behind our store. And a lot of the successful Armenian jewelers of downtown were also clients of mine at that time.
That's how you got into the jewelry business?
Because jewelry was booming in those days. And there was a lot of expansion in downtown Los Angeles. I went to downtown and got my first location.
With what, $15,000?
I had saved about $18,000, out of which $15,000 was my key money deposit for the location.
And $3,000 for gold
And
chains.
$3,000 was my deposit for my first purchase for gold chains from Italy.
You joined 300 designers, manufacturers. This was the Jewelry Mart, 6th and Hill. And this is how the LA Times described it back then. An odd mix of cultures, Israeli diamond dealers, Indian colorstone merchants, Iranian wholesalers, Armenian manufacturers, Mexican designers, Asian importers, all who turned this historic building into the Towers of Babel, a melting pot of creations. Describe the multiculturalism that you made your home back then.
It was fascinating because each industry was kind of run by certain ethnic groups. So like all the diamond business was mostly in the hands of the Israelis and the Indians. Most of the manufacturing was among Armenians. The working hands was mostly Latinos and Armenians in the manufacturing end. In the wholesale end, it was a mixture of all of us together, as far as the exchanges and the wholesale showrooms. But what was fascinating in those days was gold was keeping constant on a growth level. So everybody was making money automatically because of the value of the gold going up and up. The manufacturing was done mostly in LA, and a lot of the diamond supply that was coming from Israel, Antwerp, and India was done by New Yorkers. So they had the diamond power on the East Coast, we had the manufacturing power on the West Coast.
And I heard you had just customers and were growing your business from all over the world, Asia, Europe, Latin
Yes,
America,
yes.
Armenia, Lebanon. And then it grew so big, your business, that you bought the whole floor of
Correct.
the mart, of the Jewelry Mart, and that even took you even further to buying your own manufacturing facilities.
The business grew to a size where I had to hire more staff, more people for the showroom and the manufacturing. That's how I expanded the business for volume. And we used to do about 4 to 5 kilo gold per day in those days, when gold was about $300, $500 an ounce, where today is about over $3,000 an ounce.
I mean, when you look back at that, what was your secret, your magic sauce?
Also, my magic star was when I met my wife
She was on a
in the
booth
jewelry industry.
right next to you, and she allowed you to keep
In the
your
same
dad's
exchange.
promise. Yes.
In the same exchange.
Virginia.
Virginia is her name, yes. And we fell in love with each other, and we got married 6 months after.
6 months, you wasted no time.
No,
You
because
knew.
I knew that's the one. Then we had Hike, my first son. Then we had Michael, and business kept prospering. God supplies you prosperity as your child is born. Every child brings their luck with them as they're born. That's what my mom used to tell me. So I believe in that. And the family grew, and I was able, thanks to God, to put them in proper education school. They both worked hard. Every member of our family was an integral part of the business.
And your entire family, actually, that came to America, all of them became successful.
Yes,
So every single person here in your family achieved the American dream.
absolutely, absolutely. First came my mom and dad in 1974. Then my sister with her children, and they all got involved in the jewelry field. And they all did well. Like my younger sister, Armik's daughter, became the pride of the family also. She is a Supreme Court judge in downtown Los Angeles. My nephew turned to be the lead singer of System of a Down. And he brought nothing but joy and love to the community of Hollywood, Armenians, and to our family last name.
And what did your mom and dad say when they finally came here and they saw what you were able to build and to do, not just for your family, but also for them?
They were very proud, and always Dad used to say to me, this life in America that we're living, I owe it to what you made me do at the airport in Lebanon, for making me quit smoking. So he was very appreciative of that. And he lived comfortably. He saw all his grandchildren, he saw all his children prosper, get married, have kids. gave him grandchildren. He was fulfilled with his life, and he went happy.
What does it say about the America you came to that, was a fertile ground for all of that to blossom?
Something about the green grass of America. People on it prosper better than anywhere else. America is part of the thread of a world carpet. Each culture is a string of wool, silk, or cotton in that carpet. The whole world is made like a carpet, and we are all part of that. Each one is a thread in there. And that's how we bring our culture and knowledge to make the carpet complete. That's how I look at it.
How different is the America today that you're experiencing than it was back then?
Totally different. Totally big changes. But again, changes will come again to better, and America will stand back the way it's supposed to be. We'll get the better days. The sun will shine again. It's just cloudy a bit now, but it will change, I promise you.
Do you think America still, in these turbulent times, is the beacon where so many young people like yourself want to come to be free and live a better life?
I think so. I definitely think so. It's just temporary, but the beacon will shine again.
All right, that's what we're going to take a break. But when we come back, more with what you were able to do, not just with your great success in America, but how you gave back to your Armenian community, honoring its heritage. When LA Stories comes right back. Welcome back to LA Stories, everyone. We're here with the very charming Leon Haitayan of Leon's Jewelry here in Beverly Hills. I see all these photographs that adorn your walls of the biggest celebrities in the world. These are the customers you've catered to for over 25 years now.
I've catered many families. Now I'm serving their children and their grandchildren. Every picture is a story for me. A lot of them, my idols were, as a kid, I used to watch Clint Eastwood movies in Lebanon, and I used to admire him. When I met him, it was like a dream come true for me. It's such an opportunity to dreams come true for you, as someone who looked up to them or admired them. And to me, every story is valuable. Every picture is close to my heart.
You have given back in remarkable ways to your Armenian community. The largest Armenian community resides here in the Southland of California. And you have made it a priority to honor your heritage and history. Talk to me about April 24th every year, that you first honor those who perished in the Armenian genocide.
Most Armenians throughout the world and US, if they have an Armenian business, they usually respect the commemoration day by closing their business. That's one way that you can commemorate and contribute and respect those that perished. But above and beyond that, to me, if every Armenian brings pride as a child or a student to the community and grows to have a good education and become a good citizen, that is the pride and joy that we always can have. Like, for instance, the gentleman that created the vaccine that we got during COVID time, the Moderna vaccine, whose CEO is an Armenian gentleman called Nubar Efeyan. That's the kind of people with great positions that could bring pride to our community when they become somebody in the community that people look up to, especially the younger generation, if they can emulate what they've achieved.
You not only advocate for recognition of the Armenian genocide, you also give back to the very Boy Scouts you were once a part of as a boy in Beirut, the Heminet Men. Talk to me first about the difference it made for you as a young child.
They taught us to respect the elderlies. They taught us to do good deeds. They taught us discipline, to dress properly, to be clean. And they instilled in us one philosophy: elevate yourself and elevate others with you. Don't be selfish. So that philosophy stayed in me for life.
And what are you most proud of that you've done?
My family, that's who I'm proud of, because after all, that's the name you leave behind. And I tell my sons, I said, one thing I'm going to leave you is priceless. And they ask me, what is it, Dad? I tell them it's your last name, because when you do good in life, you treat people with respect, and you help people, when you give your last name, all doors and windows will be open for you in the future.
You are what we call in LA Stories a jewel in the crown of this city and a powerful immigrant success story, the American dream. Lian Hatayan, thank you so very much for sharing your life story, your journey, your success with us.
Thank you so much, Giselle.
Thank you.
It was
so
a pleasure.
Much. It's my pleasure. And thank you for watching another edition of LA Stories. I'm Giselle Fernandez. See you next time. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.